Alright, welcome back, and I hope your learning is coming through. We are at the end of learning about data structures, and the one that remains is set and booleans. These are the two other object types that we are left to cover. Sets, as we know, is an unordered collection of unique elements, and we construct them using the set function. Let's go ahead and see how this works. I'm going to come here, and then I will say create a variable, or which we will create using the set function, and then this is our way of telling Python that whatever we are creating on this variable is going to be a set. And I'm going to x.add, and I will add 1, and I will add 2, and I will add 3. Now if I print, it has got 1, 2, and 3. Notice the curly brackets in that does not indicate that it's a dictionary, although you can draw analogies that this set being a dictionary with only keys in it. It's not that very relevant, but we know that set has only unique entries. So what happens when you try to add something that's already in a set? So I'm going to add another 2 here. Oops, that's my typo. Okay, and let's print, and look at that it has not accepted a same value on top of what was already existing. It has tried to maintain that uniqueness. It does not place another 2 there, and we can create a list with multiple repeat elements to get a list of unique elements. But let's try what happens if I create a list now and try to see if I can convert it to a list and see what happens. So this is my list, and I will say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have some repeats here. I have a 1 repeating, I have 2 repeating, for example. And what if I cast set to be a L, and then I run this? Notice how the list is now converted into a set. Anything that's repetitive is discarded, and the uniqueness is maintained. So you can do this if you have to remove anything from your file that is repeated. So you can now use this method on anything where you need to maintain uniqueness. That's about sets. Let's move on to learn a little bit about booleans, which is where Python has a predefined true or false that displays the things that are basically 0 or 1 or binary, and it also has a placeholder object called none. Let's look at some basic examples that we need to know to move on. So I'm going to say a is equal to 1, and then I will say is a lesser than 3. It says true, yes, 1 is lesser than 3, and then I can ask is a greater than 4. It says no, that's not. So that's one example, and we can at a later time use a lot of list comparisons and so on. And I can also say b is equal to none, and I can say is a equal to b, and it is false because they're not. So that's it. Next we'll look forward for you to come back and do a short assessment, and we continue learning on how to program something more complicated, and as it becomes fun as we go. And let's move on and see you in the next class.